Greetings, manifestors. How are you today? Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why do things usually result in the opposite of what you try to manifest. It's very important. I didn't know about it before, um, and as I go through my experience, I found out that there's a reason why, and I will explain to you why I think that is the case, at least with my life, and hopefully it'll help you continue on with your manifestation without quitting, because it's important that you don't quit. You just continue to do what you need to do. But before I go into that, I'd like to thank the Unified Field for um, the my recent lottery winning again. I hit the jackpot again. Uh, Several months ago, I hit one that allowed me to pay off all my debt, and now I hit another jackpot, which now allows me to buy a house and pay cash for it. So I really am thankful the Unified Field for giving me all these things. Like I said before, if you are grateful, if you know how the universe works, then you can receive a lot of great things because the universe is infinite. Okay, the universe is infinite, and whatever it is that you ask for, if you keep manifesting the right way, it'll come to you sooner or later. Okay, so but before it comes to you, sometimes, I'd say oftentimes, the opposite happens. Why is that? Okay. Now, several years ago, I was in a very difficult situation financially. Like most Americans today, I was in serious debt. And it's not like, oh, I spent frivolously. I went out and bought all kinds of stuff, and as a result, I got into debt, and it's my fault. No. Like most Americans, uh, I invest my money. I invest my money in stocks, in real estate, things like that. And at times, it was good. I had several homes around the country that I rented out to. I rent them out to. And several years ago, I started to learn about this manifestation. And so I started to want to manifest a better life. All of the properties I had, all the stocks I had, I manifested that they will go up. And a lot of times they did, actually. I made some money in stocks, and I felt pretty good about it. And I had rentals, that earned me monthly income, and things were good. They were not great. Living in California costs a lot of money, more and more every day. And so, those income streams allow me to maintain, a living, but not go forward, not move forward. And as time went on, the cost of living became higher and higher and higher. In California, the cost of homes, the cost of rentals became higher and higher. And on top of that, I started to lose money in my stocks and real estate. I, for some reason, couldn't rent out my property, for like almost a year. So I had to cover out of pocket the the mortgage. So there was no renter in there for almost a whole year. So renters started to skip out on me on rent. I had to go through some legal avenue to try to get the rent money and all that stuff. It was terrible. It was a tough time. And at that time, of course, I couldn't understand why is it that when I try to manifest a better life, the opposite happened. So I was very I didn't believe in it anymore. Because I was like, well, it just doesn't work. Well, several years passed, and while that was going on, I also experienced a lot of synchronicities and repeating numbers, repeating phrases. Almost every single day, sometimes several times a day. So I talked to you guys about it in previous videos. And so I couldn't understand why. I said, well, maybe all of these synchronicities pertain bad stuff happening. It could be, premonition, right? Premonitions of good and bad stuff. So I thought, well, maybe it was it was trying to tell the unified field was trying to tell me bad stuff happening. That's why all these bad stuff happens. Well, fast forward to today, or most recently, uh, I hit the lottery jackpot, and was able to pay off all my debt. And before that happened, I made a video about 2 years ago, thanking the Unified Field for giving me the money in order to do that. And sure enough, most recently, several months ago, I actually won the lottery, just like that, out of the blue. And not only that, I started to get more free stuff, all the time. Refunds out of nowhere. People owe me money I didn't even know that they owe me. Banks and institutions, and they cut me checks and this and that and the other. We had free meals, $200 worth of free birthday meals. We have a free engine for my car, which I didn't ask for. An engine costs a lot of money. Five, six, $10,000 for a European car engine. And I got it for free installation and everything. So it's pretty amazing, that all the stuff started to come in. So I started to read up on, why things happen, and I found out that there is such a thing in the universe as the law of opposites. Okay, if you look at the way our world is, everything has its opposites. Think about it. Just stop to think about it. Everything has its opposites. If there is life, there has to be death. Okay? Otherwise, life cannot exist. It's not life. It's just existence. If there's no death, there is no life. There's existence. There's continuous existence, no change. Okay? If there's a right, there has to be a left. Think about it. Try to describe to someone who doesn't know what a right is without referencing a left. You can't, can you? Because one is dependent on the other. The existence of one is dependent on the existence of the other. They come in pairs. Same thing with heads or tails of a coin. Okay? Think about it. Okay? Each coin has two sides. Whether the side is printed with anything or not, it's still another side. So if you want to hand someone a coin, you have to hand that person both sides of the coin, not one. Okay? Because otherwise the coin cannot exist. There's no way it can exist without both sides. You see, you can shape the coin into a ball, but then it's not a coin anymore. A ball has no size, right? Everything's equal, uniform. So I got to thinking, and even if you look at the subatomic particles that make up our world, they come in pairs, right? The atom is made up of electron, negative charge particles, and protons, positive charge particles, along with other stuff in there too, like neutrons. And now they dig further and they found out there's quarks and, leptons and all these other particles that make up the physical matter. But overall, there's opposites. If there's matter, there's antimatter. If there's night, there has to be day. And now they found out if there's matter, if there's dark matter, right? So it's opposite. Okay, everything in the universe must exist in opposites, at least in the physical realm, right? In the physical realm, they have to exist in opposites. And that goes with everything if you really think about it. If there's war, there has to be peace. Okay? Since the beginning of time, human existence, there's always been wars. But then there's always been peace. But the good news is peace usually lasts longer than war, right? War may last 10, 20 years or so, but then there has to be peace. Peace will come, and peace is, so it seems to me that peace is a default state of things, right? So by definition, what is peace? Peace is not destructive, right? It's a time period where things are not being destroyed in large numbers, okay? So we call that peace, right? So what does that tell you? That tells you that the universe in general, most of the time, is peaceful. Most of the time, it's constructive, not destructive. If you look at the rotations of stars around galaxies, okay, it rotates in very beautiful pattern, right? In elliptical pattern, in other patterns, it's a pattern. A pattern is what? Constructive. It's not destructive. Destructive is random. When you destroy something, you take it apart, and then it becomes random. But if it's a pattern, that means it's constructive. So most of the time, the universe is constructive. So that's good news. Okay. So back to my situation several years ago. So when I started to, try to manifest things I want in my life at the time, things became destructive, disorderly. I owe money. Okay. I got into more and more debt. There was a lot of chaos, and the stresses, due to that finance. But now all of a sudden, it's all paid off. And not only that, now it's not only paid off neutral, but the unified field gave me even more money in order to have a better life, which is what I always wanted in the first place. That's the reason why I started to manifest and do all this stuff. I try to collapse the quantum wave function in the first place. Okay, so this is the time of my manifestation, but it took years. Okay, now had I quit, several years ago, I did quit for a period of time, but then I always come back, and continue on with my quiffing, with my manifestation. So then I realized that a lot of times, probably most of the time, that people don't care to admit, before you get what you want, you have to experience the negative first. Okay. To use the example of finding yourself a right person to settle down with. Before you come across that person, you come across a lot of bad apples, right? Seems to be opposite of what you want, right? Or you don't come across anybody at all. You're lonely all of a sudden. Very lonely. Alone and lonely, right? All of a sudden you have no friends anymore. All of a sudden you have no prospects anymore, and you may give up at that time saying, this thing doesn't work. Look at, but it does. That tells you that it is working. You get the negative first, then you get the positive. It's like handing you a coin. If I hand you a coin with the tail up first, that means the other side is heads. You know that. Okay? So you may experience the tail right now, but the head is it follows. Okay? The opposite of that will follow soon. Okay? When? We don't know. Like I covered before, nobody knows that. It's on what they call divine time, but I think it depends. It's dependent on many things, like your karma, what you need to learn, which is what you can control, right? What you can control. Now, the thing about learning from wisdom as opposed to learning from knowledge is that knowledge you can cram, okay? You can cram to learn a mathematical formula so you can take the math test and pass, okay? And get an A on the math test. You can't cram wisdom, but you have to be open, lower your ego so that you can learn, okay? Because if your ego is high, you're not going to be able to learn. Okay, so you have to lower your ego. Okay, and that's how you allow wisdom to take hold. Okay, you can't rush it. It's on its set time, and when you finally are ready, then the manifestation comes. Okay, and I think that's what happened with me. I had a lot to learn, a lot to grow in order to handle that kind of a money, because money is power, and power can easily be corrupted, can easily corrupt you. This is a gift from the unified field. This is not something that you go out there and you labor and labor and labor, which is good in the process of laboring over, you hopefully learn something. If you don't learn something and you still, you know, make that kind of money, you most likely will lose it because you don't have the wisdom in order to keep it. So that's why a lot of quick cash, get rich quick scheme don't work in the long term. Even though the scheme may not be a scheme, it may be a legitimate business idea, but if it happens so quickly, you won't be able to keep it. So once again, to sum it up, opposite things often do happen before the positive thing that you want can emerge. And the reason why is because things come in pairs in the universe. Okay, everything in the universe comes in pairs. So don't worry about that. Be glad though. See, if you want to speed up, so to speak, I said before you can't speed up. It's on divine time. But if you want to help it along, by learning, is to realize, which is to be grateful that the opposite of what you want actually came. Because that tells you what? That tells you that what you want is on the other side. Okay, it's there already. It's here. Imagine if you pray for something to happen, or try to pray or collapse the wave function or manifest, and nothing changes. Nothing. You don't even get the opposite. What does that tell you? It's not working, right? It's not getting through to the right field. So if you encounter something right away, even though it's negative, you know that that means the positive is coming. The thing that I really want is coming. Now, what do I need to do? I need to learn. Okay, I need to pay attention. What is it about me that I need to learn in order to accept that gift? Do I have enough responsibility? Do I have enough wisdom? Do I have enough? Can I handle it? Okay, and then lower your ego so that you can learn by living. You can't force learning. It's not like you can go in a room and you open a book, and you force it, you keep memorizing. It doesn't work like that. You have to live. But in order for you to learn while you live, you have to lower your ego. Okay, don't think you're right. Okay, have an open mind, and say, what is it about me that caused that? I don't know. Well, let's see. And then start looking around and listen to other people tell you. They may tell you the truth. They may see something that you don't see. Don't be so high on your horse that you don't want to hear the truth. Okay? If they hint to you that you never have time for them or anything but anybody else, then you need to listen and say, well, maybe I'm being a bit too selfish. Maybe I should be a little bit more generous with my time, with my effort, with my understanding of other people, things like that. So that, and really change from the inside. You see, that's why it takes time. Not window dressing. A lot of people do window. I'm going to go and volunteer for, 10, 20 days or whatever and do this and that. Okay, am I ready now, universe? No, it doesn't work like that. It has to come from the inside. If you want to volunteer and help somebody, you really have to feel it in here. You really have to feel that, wow, that person really needs help, and I don't want to see that person suffer. And I have the solution, so I'm going to share my solution with that person if he or she is willing to listen, is willing to accept what I have to offer. And that's how you change from the inside. Okay. So once again, good luck to you in your journey of manifestation. I hope what I tell you you can use in your everyday life to create a better life for you. Manifestation is really a journey. It's a journey of changing yourself, of becoming more wise. That's all it is. I know the tendency was to, I don't care, I just want that. I just want to be rich. I don't care about other things. Yes, you do. You have to learn other things in order to become rich, or in order to obtain, a lifelong mate, or in order to obtain whatever it is you want, in order to get that degree, that PhD, whatever it is that or that job that you always wanted, or that business that you always want to get started. It's a journey of learning. Anybody that achieved anything in life will tell you it's a journey. They learn a lot before they get there, and they fail a lot, because failure is learning. If you don't fail, you're not learning anything. Why? Because you're not stretching yourself. The reason why you don't fail is because you're an expert at it already. Well, if you're an expert already, why do you need to get into that again? You know what I mean? So you really have to push yourself outside your comfort zone if that's what you want to get there, if that's what's required to get where you want to be, then you do that, and that takes time. That's why it takes time to manifest something. So keep at it. Good luck to you, and happy manifestation.